My name is Daniel, and I'd like to share my experience with the Brain Rehab Clinic with Dr. Hatch and his team. So, a little bit about my story. So, approximately 12 years ago, I lost my right ear in a middle ear surgery, and I lost 100% of the hearing and about 80% of the balance. And I had to learn how to compensate again. I did pretty well until about June of this year, 2020, when I started feeling symptoms of like dizziness, vertigo, and just kind of being off. Over the next couple of weeks, those symptoms got worse, and I went into an ENT, and I was quite concerned that I was having issues with my good ear. And the symptoms got where I had problems with my eyes. They were blurry. I couldn't track objects very well, and I was so sick that I was throwing up. And so the ENT thought that it might be labyrinthitis and that it would pass, but it didn't go away. And I kept going back into the ENT, and then also in the meantime they did scans and they found that I had kidney cancer. So I kind of shifted gears and I took care of the kidney cancer through surgery, and I went back to working on the dizziness and the issues that started in June. And that's when I came across the Brain Rehab Clinic and Dr. Hatch and his team. And so I called them up, and their communication was great. They got back to me right away, and I described my symptoms, and they thought that they could help me out. And so they got me in the schedule right away, and we started therapy. And the thing I like about the Brain Rehab Clinic is it's not like a one-size-fits-all type of therapy. They do a number of tests up front, and the therapy is tailored around the patient and the things that they're experiencing. And so I've been doing the therapy for about 3 weeks now, and I'm already noticing a big difference in some of the symptoms. The first thing I noticed is the issue with my eyes, and the blurriness is going away. A lot of times I don't even notice it now, so that was one of the first things that I noticed, and I'm able to track objects again. The dizziness, I still have good and bad days, but there's a lot more good days now, and the good days are to a point where I can safely drive, and that's something that I couldn't do the last couple of months, so I'm definitely grateful for that. Another thing I noticed, a reduction in the anxiety. So I had a lot of anxiety with the problems with the dizziness and the kidney cancer, and it was only a couple of days into the treatment where I noticed kind of more of a calmness about myself. And the last thing I noticed, and this is something I didn't even think about. I didn't know this would be a benefit, but the last approximately 10 years, I couldn't sleep very well at night. I wake up several times during the night, about every couple hours, and sometimes I don't even get back to sleep. About a week and a half into the therapy, I was surprised one morning when I woke up and it said 7 a.m. on my clock, and I felt quite rested. And then the next morning it was the same situation, and I'm seeing a pattern now where I can sleep through the night, and that's something about a decade I haven't been able to sleep like that. So that was a pleasant surprise that I contribute to Dr. Hatch and his team. So thank you to Dr. Hatch and the Brain Rehab Clinic.